This is a Cannon Marlin electric HP downrigger, which I bought as a cheap project, not having had any experience with electric downriggers, but thinking that maybe they're not too difficult to repair. So what I have done is I bought a Unity UT210E counter, which this I was going to use to measure my amps on my trolling motor, and it's also got the ability to give continuity, which I've used, as I'll explain later. So this is the cover. There's just 5 screws that take off the cover, and then inside we see the motor here, and there's the cover to the gear case, and then we've got the control board here. So for anybody that's thinking of doing some maintenance, what I suggest is you go to the Fish 307 website, download the schematics or the diagram of all the parts, and then go from there. So what I've done is went to the Fish 307 website, downloaded the schematics, and then ordered all the parts that I needed, that I thought I needed. So I'm based in New Zealand. Fish 307 I think is around New York somewhere. The parts that I ordered, they dispatched virtually the following day, and 2 weeks later they've arrived here in New Zealand, and I've just replaced the following. To start with, we've got a little bearing and 2 washers which go over where the crank handle would go on a manual downrigger. These washers get grooved, and apparently they're not meant to be grooved, so I've just replaced those. It's very simple, you can see that. To take off the shaft, the pulley, what you have to do is take all the wire off your downrigger, and then inside you'll find this screw, which you need a Allen key to pull it out. And on the Marlin, they've got this some sort of conducive material which sits on top of the screw. What I did was I ordered a longer screw, which is actually the same length right through, and I'll explain that later. So you undo that screw, pull out the shaft, and then you're able to pull out the pulley. These are nylon bearings, which they've got a little tab there which locks in place. Now my pulley was wobbling quite a lot, and when I put the new nylon bearings in, it's made it quite a significant difference without any wobble. So obviously you can't see how much wear is in those, but they've got a major part to play. Here we've got the clutch washer, and I've replaced that. And here, this is a fuse. Now on the Marlin, when I pulled it apart, the fuse was just lying down in here somewhere, attached to the wires from the wire from the battery, and then going from there to the control board. But I mean, if this fuse trips, there's no way of resetting it without pulling off the cover. So what I've done is I ordered a fuse, if you can see right down in here, and it's got a exterior access, so that if it trips, I could just reset it there. And you'll see on the later model downriggers that they've all got that facility. The thing is, I could not put it over here because the control board is there, so it's out of the way there, and that will work fine. Right. So what else have I done? On the end here, I've placed a Anderson plug, and I've soldered. I put solder into the terminals, and then put the wire into the molten solder, and that seems to be working fine. Recommendation: before you do any work, take a photo of the control board so you know where all the wires go. For your downrigger wire, before you take it off, test it in 2 or 3 different places. The wire that came with this, some of it looked all right, but when I bent it, it snapped quite readily. In some places it looked fine, in other places it just snapped readily. So if you've got any doubt with your downrigger wire, replace that. And I got some off Amazon, and it was a cheap freight, so I would recommend that. Now this control board, I'll just explain what I understand. Here we've got 2 boxes. They're actually relays, so that determines forward and reverse, which is controlled from the switch up the top. This long thing here is apparently some sort of resistive mechanism which allows the reverse, when it's descending, to go slower than when you're bringing the wire, the downrigger ball up. And these are just some capacitors which apparently smooth out the voltage. So there's 2 purposes of the board as I understand it. The first is to provide a mechanism for reversing, and the second is to provide a short stop. Now the short stop is a mechanism where the ball comes up from the depths, and as soon as it hits the comes out of the water, the motor will shut off. So if your board got fried, I understand what you can do is just buy a switch, and there's apparently a 3-prong and a 4-pronged switch, so I'm not sure which one. You'd have to research that as to which switch is required, but you could do away with the board completely and just go to a switch, which that switch would provide the reversing up and down. We wouldn't have the control panel working on the top, and we wouldn't have the short stop feature working because you've removed the board. The other thought I had is reversing relays are quite simple once you've figured out where the wiring goes. So you could always put a toggle switch up the top for up and down and off, and have two relays. You could wire that in, and that I think is an alternative to buying the quite expensive switch, reversing switch that they supply. So what difficulties did I have with this? First of all, I had difficulty in lining up the screw to secure the shaft. That was this screw here. I had difficulty in lining that up, and so it's just a matter of ensuring that you get it correctly seated. Then the other difficulty is I had the motor, I hadn't got it seated properly, so it was sitting up so that this cover wouldn't sit down without any force. So once I figured out what that was and got the motor to sit in the housing correctly, that just sat on there with no force and no gap. So that is something to watch for. And the other thing is, with all my mucking around, I broke the short stop. Now what happens here is that screw that I was talking about, which is down in the pulley, actually provides a ground right through to the end of the shaft in there, and on that shaft sits a spring, sort of like that, and then the spring comes right through, and the wire from the spring comes through there, and that's joined on with this wire here. So the downrigger wire goes onto the screw, and the earth then comes right through here onto the control board. So that's the way it's providing the shut-off mechanism when the ball comes out of the water. I don't know how it does it, but obviously if that's providing an earth and the ball comes out of the water, the earth is broken, and it somehow triggers the board to shut off. So I broke that spring in there. Sorry, I didn't break it. I broke off the connector, so I had to put on another connector, clamp it on, or crush it on, and then I had to spread out the spring a bit, and I tested it with my continuity meter to ensure that I still had the earth right through. When I put the fuse in here, it wouldn't sit down properly, and it wouldn't come through the other side of the housing properly. So what I had to do was grind out with a Dremel a seating base, and then with a file just to file down a little bit, because it's rounded, and I had to flatten it out in order to get it to seat properly. So if you're going to do that, be very careful that you line it up dead center between the space available, and you can see there I've got mine dead flush up against the back panel. So been an interesting little project. Go to the Fish 307 website. They've got a marvellous video there on replacing this wire for later models, and the Cannon Mag 10 doesn't seem to be very much difference apart from the motor drive. So yeah, I hope this is oh sorry, two other points. Here I've got a rubber seal. That seal goes between the motor housing and the body of the downrigger, and then there was a little bearing here, a little bearing I replaced also. So anyway, I hope that's useful for somebody. Cheers.